everybody. So, today I'm gonna do a book review, real quick one. So I just finished up reading the U.S. Constitution and other writings, and this is a book. So I've had I've had the Constitution on my to-read list for quite some time, and I hadn't gotten around to it. I'd never read it before. I had never had to read it before, which is not saying much for our school system. In fact, I think everyone in this country should read the Constitution. And it's, not, like I said, not saying much for the school system, the public school system, that I never had to read it. And that was a long time ago. And my son is learning nothing about the United States. He's in second grade. And, I remember in first and second grade, I at least knew who the first president of the United States was, and he did not know that. I asked him yesterday, and he didn't know. So that is sad and pathetic that the kids are not learning anything about this country that they live in. But anyway, so my husband actually ended up picking this book up at Costco one day because he saw it there and he was like, oh, well, there you go. So I'll just review this particular copy of it because there's about 1 million different copies you can get of it. The thing that I was a little bit disappointed in was it doesn't have all of the amendments. It has, the Constitution itself. It has the Bill of Rights. But then it only has like 2 other amendments, notable amendments, like the 19th, and I can't remember what the other one was that they had in here. Maybe the 14th, or I don't remember, but it, so the 16th, the income tax, which is an important one. So I had the 16th and the 19th. Those are the only two amendments that it has in it, which I was kind of disappointed in because I'd like to read all of them. And there are some other important ones in there. So, but then it has some other stuff in it, like a lot of other stuff in it that I found really interesting, but never would have thought to read, like a lot of inaugural addresses of certain presidents, like Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, Reagan, but then it also has like the NATO agreement, and like the civil rights legislation. So it has like a lot of other interesting things in it that I would not have thought to read. They would not have gone out of my way to read that were interesting reads. And one thing that I will say is, yes, I do think things are a lot more polarized right now, but you read some of these inaugural addresses from previous presidents, like say FDR, when he said that, the government needs to function, it needs to be more streamlined. Well, you think that means smaller, but then he, passed some of the biggest expansion of the federal government in U.S. history. And, so clearly what he was saying was not what he actually believed. So, so that kind of stuff, that's been happening for forever. Politicians are politicians, right? So that was interesting. And I had other like different speeches, like, Reagan's speech at the Berlin Wall, things that I had heard about, obviously, but hadn't ever, hadn't ever read. And it actually made me want to read more. It made me want to explore more writings. And what I liked about this, one thing that I liked about this book was it gave like a brief description at the very beginning of most of the most of the chapters, most of the not articles, but most of the pieces, that was very much like, this is exactly what this is. Didn't give any commentary on it at all. It's just the speeches, the legislation, the, whatever it is, without commentary. And like, basically you can make up your mind about it for yourself. And that was something that I did really like about this particular copy, this particular book. There wasn't really any commentary on any of the stuff except for maybe the foreword. And so yeah, this particular copy of the U.S. Constitution, if you want just the Constitution and all of the amendments, not the one. But if you want to read some other interesting pieces from U.S. history, yeah, definitely check it out. Like I said, it found it at Costco. My husband just happened to see it there, and that was how he ended up with it, and that was how I read it. So like I said, it's an okay copy, but it definitely made me want to read more. I mean, this country is an amazing country. We have an amazing history, good and bad, obviously. And made me want to learn more about it, more than I learned in school, which, I was in school when they kind of taught the myths and stuff that weren't necessarily true. But it made you remember who, at least things like the cherry tree story made you remember who the first president of the United States was, which they don't teach anymore. So I'm going to have to teach it to them myself. So yeah, check it out. Definitely. I mean, I think everyone in the U.S. needs to read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And the other thing that this has in it is some of the Federalist Papers. It doesn't have all of them. I would like to read all of them at some point, though I will say, of everything else in here, the Federalist Papers were the most difficult read. And I'm not sure that I could read all 40 some odd of them. They were difficult, very, that was the most difficult read of the whole book, was the few Federalist Papers that they put in there. So I hope you enjoyed this. Go read the U.S. Constitution. It is an incredible document, and this is an incredible country. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button, share it, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow with a new video.